Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA episode 451. I am Brendan. All right, UFC 311, Makhachev versus Moicano. Wasn't supposed to be that. It was supposed to be Army and Serghei, but we're not going to talk about that because that didn't happen. I know that this video is a little late for those of you guys who watch my stuff. I was at a volleyball tournament all weekend. Had to catch up on the fights. Obviously, I had work yesterday and today, but I managed to sneak in time to watch the fights, do the breakdowns, and now I'm recording. So I know it's late. I apologize. Please, if you can, subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of stuff and like this video. It will help because this one's coming out late. I'm going to miss the algorithm like you wouldn't believe. So anyway, let's get into it. Let's talk about the main event here. Obviously, it wasn't supposed to be this. I can't imagine that Moicano was prepared for, because he was preparing for Beneil Dariush. I can't imagine that gets him ready for Islam Makhachev, especially because it was a 3-round fight. And I know what people are going to say. Well, he was getting ready for a fight anyway, so what's the difference? There is a gigantic difference when training for a 3-round versus 5-round fight. It's 10 more minutes of fighting. That is, the strategy is different. The technique is going to be different. The pace is obviously going to be different. Unless you are unlimited cardio like Merab or like a Frankie Edgar, your style will change from 3 to 5 rounds. In fact, some people who fight really well in 5 rounds don't fight well in 3 rounds. We can talk about that in the next fight. Because that strategy of like pacing yourself and keeping the cardio works so well over the 25 minutes that over the 15, they just don't get going fast enough, and people who are sprinters get out in front of them. Okay? This is not an excuse, right? This is just an explanation for, I think, what we saw here. Not that Makhachev would never beat Moicano anyway. I think, but let's just talk about it. So hard low kicks from Moicano, sticking to the jab out there. Herb Dean giving him a warning, giving Moicano a warning about his fingers. Real cute. Yeah, this is a good start to the year with your warnings. We all know you ain't taking points. You spent the entire last year not taking away points. The fuck is wrong with you? Makhachev landing that left hand. Moicano dropping Makhachev. I understand that they said it was a slip. Go back and watch it again. He did catch him with a hook amongst that uppercut. It's, you can call it what you want. Anyway, a knockdown. And clearly Makhachev was done getting hurt. He was done getting punched in the stand-up. Obviously, he got hit earlier with a good shot from Moicano. He's like, I'm done with this shit. Got the takedown and eventually locks up at Darce. Commentary was really excited about the new record being broken, being the all-time whatever at 155 and all this other nonsense. It's virtually meaningless without context, and when put into context, it makes it less impressive. Looking at the wins that he's had against the people that he's had, he had his loss, his only loss to Adriano Martins back in the day in 2015, and then he beat Chris Wade. Who? Good question. Nick Lentz back in 2017. That's not that impressive a win. Gleison Tebow in 2018, who was 1,000 years old. Cajun Johnson, who's not in the UFC. Armin Saryukian, that's a good win. That's a legitimate win back in 2019. Davi Ramos, again, okay win, but that is what it is. Drew Dober win, good win, not ever a title contender. Diego Moises, again, good win, not a title contender ever. Dan Hooker, same thing. Bobby Green, same thing. And then Charles Oliveira, finally he fights for a title and gets the win. And I thought he was going to beat Charles Oliveira. I always thought Charles Oliveira had a lot of weaknesses that Makhachev could expose. Then he fights the same guy 2 times, somebody who's not in his division. Then Dustin Poirier, who nobody thought that Poirier was going to come and win, but made it more competitive than it probably should have been. And then now getting Renato Moicano on essentially short notice for Moicano, stepping up in competition and in the same on the same card. So all of that being said, when you talk about the substantiating his wins, does this compare to Anderson Silva's 16-fight record? No, it doesn't. It just doesn't. Like, you can go back and watch it. Like, if you are this, and here's the thing is, Makhachev's a very good fighter. So having him against all of these like mediocre to middling talents for this long of a time allowed him to build up this win record. Right? And now he's faced essentially 3 people for the title. 4 people, sorry. Volkanovski twice. But no, 3 people, my bad. 3 people in his division for the title. And one fight, was the against Volkanovski, in which he got outstruck, outlanded, outdamaged overall through the entire fight, but because he won the rounds, and I'm not excusing that one. Like, he definitely won that. There was people were making the argument. I didn't hear it. I thought Volkanovski lost. But that's the thing. He's like, he has a close fight against Volkanovski, then he comes back and then he fights Volkanovski again for some reason, and now he wants to step up in weight class. He's fought 2 people in his own division, and he's only defended the belt 1 time from people in his division that he planned that were actually scheduled for a title shot. So, I mean, you can only fight who's in front of you, and I understand that, and I'm not trying to take away like what he's done like overall as a win, right? That's impressive. But when you start to go comparing, you got to put it in context. And Anderson Silva was shoved right into the title picture almost immediately after coming in and beating Chris Lieben. And then most of those wins were for the title. Okay? Most of Islam's wins are against middling talent, who he is clearly better than. Right? He should have been fighting title contenders the entire time. I mean, if the UFC is to be believed, but we didn't get to see that, because I think we would have ran into a situation similar to what we saw in our co-main event here, which, spoiler alert, it's going to be a long breakdown. Merab Dvalishvili taking on Umar Nurmagomedov. Now, this fight went to full 25 minutes. There's a lot going on, so there's a lot to break down here. But a quick overview. Merab's gas tank is his weapon. And for anybody to put that down like it's not a weapon, go back and watch Frankie Edgar. Okay, go back and watch Gregor Gillespie. Go back and watch any of these cardio kings, and you tell me that that's not a weapon, or tell me that it's not effective technique. I don't care how good of a puncher you are. Take it to the extremes, right? Take it to the logical extremes. If you can hit harder than anyone on the planet, but you can only punch 1 time, what good are you if you miss? Right? The logic goes the same if you extend that for 2 rounds. If you are the best fighter for 2 rounds on the planet, it doesn't matter if you can't do that in 3, 4, and 5, because you're going to lose. Right? And then if you have somebody who's the polar opposite, like, could you imagine if this was only a 3-round fight, the way the media would have handled this one, about Umar Nurmagomedov's rise to fame and his rise in how good he is and how he just destroys everybody and nobody's on his level. Even Dvalishvili can't keep up with him, and this and that, and Nurmagomedov this, and he's so good, and look at the way Khabib is coached and all this other shit. This is what happens when you actually schedule a guy for 5 rounds against someone who's a 5-round fighter. This is exactly what you get. Right? This is not new for the AKA camp outside of like the cardio kings, right? The Abdul Namap, the camp, right? The Dagestani guys. This is how they fight, right? They don't have like this incredible cardio. They have really good cardio, but it's not like earth-shattering amazing like Merab's is. What it is smart tactics. They go for takedowns and they get breaks. They take a break, they take a beat, they take you down, they make you work, and they make you work harder than they're working. When they can't do that, this happens. We've seen it happen with other people out of that camp before, and it happened to Islam, right? When he fought Volkanovski, and Volkanovski wouldn't quit and stayed in his face. What happened? The last round, Volkanovski was putting it on him. That's what I'm saying. It's not like Islam can't fight in the last round. He can still do it, just like Umar did. But they don't excel in those rounds when pushed to their limits. And that's where they break, and you can find it. And they've been pushing Umar like crazy, right? Essentially, the whole time he's been in the UFC, it's just been like, oh, he needs to fight for a title. He's beating Serghei Morozov and Brian Kelleher, who I love, but that doesn't mean much as far as title contention. Nate Maness doesn't mean much. Raoni Barcelos, a good veteran challenge, sure. Beksat Almakan, yeah, great. Corey Sandhagen is the only legitimate fighter that he's taken on, and he won decisively in a fight that, he just shut Sandhagen down as far as like the technical striking goes. But then this is the first time after like he fights one guy who's a legitimate title contender and then fights for the title and loses. Right? Which is what I said. I thought that would have been like this could have been Islam's, like, you look at this. Oh, this kind of stuff is what Islam's entire career was based on in the UFC up until 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Right? Was this 14 wins of this, 13 wins of this. Umar just only had 5 wins. That's the difference. He only got 5. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, he got 5 before he got thrown to title contender. So he got the loss. He got the title loss earlier in his career. Whereas if Islam fights forever, he'll eventually lose. Anyway, tentative start with both guys just measuring. These rounds, by the way, they're not as off as some people will have you believe. Let's see if they measuring both guys. Right hand finds a mark for Nurmagomedov. Dvalishvili rushes in, forces him to react, landing a couple times, and again in the open he darts in and finds the mark with that right hand. Dvalishvili's landing and then holding his ground with the hooks, and Nurmagomedov is not wanting to engage. So like you get this, it's not a stalemate, but Merab moves in, throws something, and then Nurmagomedov doesn't want to move back into him, so they end up just both throwing at air. Nurmagomedov trying to steal the round, possibly looking for a takedown or something with control. With a minute left, just no dice on that one. Dvalishvili finding the mark on the break. Big right hand from Nurmagomedov, no follow-up, but I think that won him this round at the very end of it. So the striking numbers 20-18 as far as control time, even at 2 seconds, which is nothing. Merab did outstrike him here 20-18, like I said, but I felt like Nurmagomedov won this round. I feel like that last punch did put him over on the damage. Second round, both guys landing right hands in tight with chaos. Nurmagomedov getting the better of it early, but Merab refuses to back up for any significant portion of time. Merab failing on the takedown, and Nurmagomedov gets the back and wants to hold on. That's his best control in this round. Merab keeping the pressure on and not wanting the takedown, starting to look like he's... Umar really wants that takedown. He's starting to look like he's breathing heavy. It started in the second round. If you go back and watch, you can see it happen. Merab ending the round with some pressure, finding the mark. Close round, but the back control and the damage, I feel like, went to Nurmagomedov, who did outstrike him here, 25-20. If you go back and look at the control time, 48 seconds to 15 in favor of Nurmagomedov. With that back control time, if you had the damage even, which I didn't, but even if you did, that goes to Umar. Third round, and boy, it is fun to hear the commentary just loving on the Khabib corner, talking about how good they are and how confident their guy is, and boy, does that change after the third round. Merab in on a single, forcing Umar to the fence, but able to get out. The kickstart and flashy stuff from Umar have all but stopped. The threats that's a good telltale sign that he is tiring, right? Like when those big movements are no longer coming from him, it seems like after the fight he did say he broke his hand, but that breaking your hand doesn't affect how much you're kicking. So Umar starts panic sprawling because he really doesn't want to get taken down or engage in the wrestling. Causes a clash of heads. The pressure from Merab and his hooks are finding the mark, and Umar wants to take down now bad, and he is tired. Merab grabbing the leg, points at him and laughs at him, lets up like he snatches a single, throws him to the ground, points at him, laughs at him, and lets him up. Merab getting the takedown, then back up, and Merab talking and having a blast as Umar goes for the takedown himself. And then, you can hear people talking about how he's losing this round. No, but anyway, he was talking shit. And not talking shit. He was talking to the commentary team like, hey, are you guys having fun? It's a fun fight. Merab then decides with 60 seconds left to really, give it some gas. Nurmagomedov goes for the takedown again, but right back up. And Umar is just holding him now. Merab wins this round on damage, and Umar starts to tire. So now the striking numbers here, very close, 22-21 in favor of Nurmagomedov. Go back and watch those. There is not that much damage coming from Nurmagomedov that outdoes all the pressure that was. So, if you think that the damage was even, all that pressure from Dvalishvili, the entire round pushing forward, the one pressing the action, the one trying to finish the fight and actively engage gets the round. But I thought Dvalishvili landed bigger shots in this round anyway. And then in the fourth round, you really start to see it play out. So fourth round here. So I had a 29-28 for Nurmagomedov. Merab ducking the jab and landing that right hand, following it, landing that right, grabbing the single leg and then dump him in again. Merab dumped, he just lets him back up. He gets this nice double, forcing Umar to fight his way up, and he's breathing heavy. Umar panic shoots, just nothing there, forced to trade on the feet. Merab keeping the pressure on. Merab, Dvalishvili really putting some distance between him and Nurmagomedov with the striking numbers here. He did outstrike him here 36-21. Umar really wants that takedown for a break. Like I said, that's their camp. That's what they do. They're looking for it all the time, and he just couldn't get it. Merab dumps him with a double, and Khabib yelling at him right behind as they're like in their corner. And Umar looking gassed, 38-38. Going into the last round. This is the whole Khabib camp. Oh, that's what I talked about at the top of this. Merab just grabbing the single over and over, letting it go, and this game plan has worked, right? Umar looks absolutely destroyed, and he can't land any real shots of like significance. Now, they are considered significant strikes, but when you watch him happen, there's not a lot of damage coming off of these shots. He's just got nothing left in the tank. He's panic shooting. He's really trying to get a break here, trying to eke out like a victory, and he thinks he won this fight, by the way. Merab landing the biggest right hand of the round, and does a ton of damage with it, then dumps him, points and laughs at him, and then gets another takedown, takes the back, and holds it till the end. Like, that's the round here. Obviously, the only one with control time. Striking numbers were in favor of Nurmagomedov. Go back and watch it. I will tell you, those 3 extra shots he threw to the body and those 2 to the head do not outdo the Dvalishvili right hand that landed, and then the control time obviously goes to Dvalishvili. Merab saying that his leg was injured in camp, fucked it up real bad, had to get stitches on it and sew it up because it was cut open, and he hurt his back during the fight. But how could he not give his all? Because the UFC gave him everything. Now, I'm not a UFC like proponent here saying that like, look, the UFC does nothing bad and they're all good. That's not what I'm saying. It's just saying that like Merab has such an admiration for the people who've given him opportunities, and he's like saying that like because they've given him this opportunity, they've basically taken a chance on him. How could he not give everything that he has? So I love that kind of conviction in what he's saying there. Umar thinks he won the fight. He thinks, and he also said he broke his hand, but like I said, that does not affect your kicks. So why did those stop as well? It's because he was tired. What's next for Merab? I don't know. Who do you guys want to see here? We've seen him destroy Petr Yan. Sean O'Malley was a close fight. I wouldn't mind seeing that again. Umar, I'm not for. I don't want to see a rematch. There's nothing there. Like, what are we going to see? I mean, if Merab turns it up a little bit earlier, then the fight's even, like, it's even less close than it was. Figueiredo could be a fun fight, although he'll just gas. Marlon Vera deserves nothing when it comes to a title shot. And then now we're too far away. So the division's got to shake itself out a little bit. So I don't know who Merab's planning on fighting, but he should probably sit. And then let's look at the scorecards real quick here, because there was a little bit of discrepancy. Not too much of one. All right, Chris Lieben had the first 2 rounds for Nurmagomedov, as well as Mike Bell. But then the last 3 for Merab, and then Chris Krail, who I have never heard of before, gave that first round to Dvalishvili. Yeah, if you look at the striking numbers, he did outstrike him, and like I said, these rounds were not blowout rounds, those first 2. Like, they were competitive, right? I thought Nurmagomedov clearly won them, but they were competitive rounds, so, he wasn't far and away better. But then the last 3 rounds, like, the last round had its moments where, like, it could have gone to Nurmagomedov, but it looked like Merab was kind of just baiting him in and talking shit and biding his time. So I think he could have won by even more. Should have. Jamahal Hill versus Jiri Procházka. This one has title shot implications, but this division is a shit show right now because the guy who's the champion doesn't want to fight. Whatever. And the heavyweight division's also a fucking mess. Procházka darting in and out with feints. Hill goes with the low kicks. A real cool counter from Procházka with the right hand as he slips at the same time. Beautiful stuff. Hill bouncing some shots off of Procházka's head, but Procházka's rolling with things, so it's really hard to tell. I'll probably say that later too. I remember taking that note. It's hard to tell how clean you land on Procházka because he's moving so much as it is, and it disguises a lot of damage that he takes, whether it hurts him or not. Like, if it doesn't hurt him, it doesn't look like, he just reacts how he normally reacts. And if it does hurt him, he's moving already. So, like, any wobbling or anything else, he might have done that already. So it's not even a good poker face. It's just his style makes it very difficult to judge how well things land on him. Obviously, if he gets rocked and falls over, that's one thing. But like just moving in the standard shots that don't put you down, like how hard are they hitting? Hill was just not able to find the mark with clean shots. Even a jab halfway through the round just aren't landing clean. Clean step in left hand puts Hill down. Hill back up, finally lands with a clean right hand of his own. Prochazka moving so well, slipping a ton. Hill's landing a bit. Prochazka's just landing way more. Prochazka landing a ton of damage this round. Hill missing way too much. Hill out threw him here 64-58, but got outlanded. 32-23 for Prochazka that first round. Like I said, Hill's just missing a ton. Second round, Hill's chasing and reacting. He's just not in his groove early. Hill landing that jab and the straight to the body. Prochazka pokes him with the knuckles, which is not against the rules necessarily, but they did give him a pause. Like he poked him with either this part of his thumb knuckle or this part. But that's not against the rules. Just like if you hit someone with your knuckles in the eye, that's not an eye poke. That's a punch that landed to the eye. It's unfortunate that that's what happened, but it's not against the rules. Hill will land, but Prochazka is moving so well, it's hard to see if they did any damage. Like I said, bad eye poke from Hill. Now, those it looked like he just fucking Three Stooges him. Slipped right up into his eyes. One knuckle deep, not two knuckles. Prochazka relegated to defensive movements and poking with the kicks for a while Hill's really finding the mark, especially to the body in this round. And Hill with a much better round. Can't imagine the eye pokes helped Prochazka here. 38-22 for Hill. Like I said, really got in a groove. Great round for him. Last round, as a 19-19 going into the last round. Prochazka landing with that left in a slick movement pattern, and he's chasing him down. Hill throwing back, but still backing up. Hill with the clinch and a decent knee to the body, but Prochazka separates and find a hard left hook, dropping him again, then a right hand, then a left and an uppercut. Hill goes down, and that's it. 43-20 for striking numbers in that round. Prochazka getting the finish. Looking at the scorecards here just to see, making sure that no judges were off their fucking rocker. Saul D'Amato, Derek Clearly, and Jonathan Romero both gave it the correct split there, so that's good. It's always good to go check on the judges just in case, because they could be fucking up and nobody knows about it because it didn't go to a decision. All right, it's important to point that stuff out. It really is. I wholeheartedly mean that. Jailton Almeida versus Serghei Spivac. We're not going to pull up stats of this one. This video's already gotten kind of long. Spivac using the whizzer kick to get on top with 410, lands some good ground and pound, but Almeida reverses and gets the back. But Spivac, again on top, landing good ground and pound, clearly winning this fight. And then Almeida gets up, lands some good shots, and then goes for the clinch, but then takedown right into mount. Almeida gets the back and landing some good ground and pound and some of the softest shots you've ever seen end a fight. But that's a mandatory TKO finish. When you're landing shots and they're undefended and you're not intelligently reacting to them, it is what it is. That's a mandatory stoppage from the referee. All right. Kevin Holland versus Reinier de Ritter. Reinier de Ritter. De Ritter immediately goes for that single leg, spends 3 minutes on top and works his way to the back, and de Ritter gets a rear naked choke in the first round. Don't need to pull up stats for that one either. All right, that's it for the main card. If you like this video, please click the like button. If you like this kind of thing, subscribe to the channel. That way the next video is coming out. I'd super appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Let me know what you guys thought. I know I'm late with this. I am sorry. I'm sorry. I wanted to get this out yesterday. I thought maybe on Sunday when I got back from Wisconsin from the tournament, I'd be able to slap something together. Watch the fight sometime when I was out there. We were so busy all day, and I'm taking pictures and video while I'm out there, so I just don't have time. So anyway, I appreciate y'all for stopping by. If you made it to the end of this video, you're the best. I love you guys. Hope you guys have an amazing week. Love y'all. Peace.